Experience the future of packaging and processing up close and in action. Explore groundbreaking innovations, engage with hands-on solutions, and connect with the experts transforming the industry. See how these advancements can revolutionize your products, production lines, and business. It all starts here. Don't miss out. Register today at packexpolasvegas.com/unpackedpod. You're listening to Unpacked with PMMI, where we share the latest packaging and processing industry insights, research, and innovations to help you advance your business. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Unpacked with PMMI. I'm your host, Sean Riley, Senior Director of Media and Industry Communications for PMMI. And today we are welcoming Jim Chrzan, Vice President of Content and Brand Strategy for the PMMI Media Group. Jim participated in 3 days worth of Vision 2025 sessions at Pack Expo Las Vegas and Healthcare Packaging Expo 2019. He's going to give us a quick look at the topics and trends tackled by the CPGs, OEMs, and contract packagers during the event. It's great to have you with us today, Jim.
Thanks, Sean, and thanks for inviting me, and thank PMMI for inviting the media group to attend these sessions. I found it fascinating. Day one was asset reliability, and Dana Greenleaf from Emerson started the panel discussion by saying, we're data rich and information poor. So I thought, well, here goes a discussion about metrics, collection, and analysis. But as soon as the group discussion started, it quickly shifted to people and partnerships, and those seem to be the common thread running through all 3 days. And I think that I heard again and again that OEMs and contract packagers and CPGs are seeking partnerships rather than simply transactions, and the need for breaking down silos between suppliers and buyers, but also within their own organizations came up again and again, and how hard it is to build a culture of asset reliability and keep it going, sustaining it with your day-to-day pressures to perform.
So I was also in attendance for most of these. So when Dana puts out there that we're going to talk about data, and I've seen this kind of thing happen in the past, do you think it's just once CPGs and OEMs sit down together, they just kind of circles back to the common problems that always pop up?
I think it does, and I think it's harder for journalists like you or me to write the story over and over again because it is so similar. And I think the real benefit for the participants is the networking, that you have these folks sitting down together, and it's a great open forum where they can voice. For instance, the OEMs definitely want to be included earlier in discussions to try to understand what the CPA or co-packer is trying to accomplish. And maybe the OEM proposes a solution that the buyer hadn't even thought of because they're more aware of what they're really trying to accomplish. So a key takeaway for me on the asset reliability day one was that it's not a one-time program, but a continuous process that's often interrupted by day-to-day operations. Chad Sales from Hormel said, we're excellent firefighters, and sometimes you just have to lock people in a room and say, we're solving this for the next few days.
Right. So it's not a situation where you go to an OEM and you pick out a machine and they put it in your plant and that's that.
Yep.
It's something that they want to expand into more of, like you said, a partnership, a collaboration that is ongoing and hopefully will include the life of the machine, many more machines to come.
Yep. I remember one of the CPGs saying that when you buy a machine, you're in effect getting married to that OEM for 10, 15 years because that's how long you hope to keep it operating.
All right. Let's move on then and see what they had to say for day two.
Day two, the focus was on multifunctional equipment and changeovers. And of course, that's a response to the crazy proliferation of SKUs that we're seeing. And I think it was Tom Miller from General Mills who said, they used to have mostly core products and a few, I think he called them dogs and cats, outliers. And he said now all their customers are seeking product differentiation.
Now, is that tied just to the big box stores and the club stores, or would we think that that's obviously has something to do with the Amazons and the e-commerce of the world?
I think not only the e-commerce players in the world, but the Whole Foods and all those different types of stores, Target now, your groceries, all these mass merchandisers kind of went into the grocery biz, and everybody wants a different kind of pack out. And I remember Tom saying that, we used to change a package size and figure that it would last for 5 years. And now it's 12 months. And when you're talking about something like changeovers, why am I buying these expensive changeover parts that are designed to last for 20 years?
Right.
Why can't we maybe like print those or give me something less expensive that I'll buy more often? And I thought that was really a key.
So maintaining the relationship in a way that keeping pace with the changes on the end user side as an OEM, which again goes back to not just selling them a piece of equipment.
Exactly right.
Okay. Being aware that they are going through these changes
yes, exactly
as well.
right. And having it have some continuity throughout the process, not only on the machine, but the change parts or the training or all the different things they need. Richard Larson, who's a contract manufacturer, talked about one of his clients that has 30 SKUs and they want fresh product. They don't want it stored in a warehouse. So he has shorter runs and more frequent changeovers. So all of these conversations have shifted from speed and reliability. You remember 5 years ago, it was like we're going to run one thing. We want to run it as fast as we can.
As cheap as possible.
And now the conversations are agility, flexibility, different formats, sizes. And I think you found also that many of the CPGs are leaning heavily on contract packagers to pick up the slack for them. And I heard all this week on the show floor that contract packagers are coming in buying much more expensive systems and machineries in order to ramp up to help the CPGs and OEMs.
Are the contract packagers prepared for that, do you feel?
I think so. I think that people have a misconception that they're very small mom and pop operations, and many of them have 12 facilities around the country, and a CPG is ordering different things regionally, and so they're able to reach out to the contract packagers and say, you do this for us, and then we don't have to buy this equipment. You buy it. And again, as the group discussion started, which are super valuable to be able to listen into, it evolved into bemoaning about workforce retention issues. One fellow at a table I was at said, we hire someone, background check, we train them, they're working out okay, and 6 weeks later they leave, and we try to do an exit interview and find out why, and they say basically it's for personal reasons, and we're not able to press that. And so we've lost an employee, and we don't know what to change in order for it to not happen again. And this was at not only the OEM level, but the CPG level as well. And you've got situations here where people are getting a job, and they're ghosting their employer on day one and never even showing up, which is just incredible.
I don't want to say, is there just too many jobs? Is it just they don't like the work when they get there, or is it we really don't know?
I think part of it is the internet and social media, because now the younger millennials in the workforce are being trained, don't go ask for a 3% raise, leave and go ask for a higher salary at a new job. And that's happening a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, let's wrap it into day 3. That kind of was the last day of the show, but we had a great turnout, which in Vegas is hard to do after 3 days.
Especially after 3 days.
After 3 days.
I agree. And it was early, and people came eager to participate. And day 3 was about writing better requests for proposals. And again, communications with all the stakeholders early on and often was the theme. And there's misunderstandings or communications between buyer and supplier, as well as inside each organization. I think one of the coolest ideas I heard discussed was the notion of a pre-factory acceptance test, where a few people come out and see the machine 3 or 4 weeks before they're going to have the factory acceptance test, so they can identify issues that they can address before the test, because the FAT might be 3 days before shipping, and now you have a long laundry list of things you have to fix, like welds and things like that.
And I remember that another issue that they brought up, which I was something I wasn't thinking of, is they also aren't necessarily having enough time to take into consideration, is this going to fit through this doorway to get where it has to go? Or is it going to fit into the space that I want this to be on the floor? And that's another thing where the collaborating earlier helps.
And they talked about the collaboration between corporate and the plant, because corporate might have a high vision of what they want to accomplish, and the plant will tell them, we don't have power there, we don't have air there, we don't have the doors, kind of thing. So you've got to get corporate and the plant together on what is really possible to do. And I remember Colin Warrens from ADCO, he's one of the OEMs on a panel, he had a great idea. They used to have eternal disconnection between sales and engineering. So ADCO established a cradle-to-grave project management team that sticks with the project once the order comes in, and they found that this continuity helps. And Colin's team sees 200 to 300 RFPs in a year ranging from a one-page email to a 400-page document. So he was talking about, special requests come in that add to the cost, and the RFPs stretch from base machines to super custom projects. And sometimes ADCO has to come back and say, we can do what you want, but it's going to cost more and take longer time. And sometimes the CPG will come back and say, well, we don't really need that much, so let's take that off of there. So Again, it's the basics of communication, right?
I know we discussed, as we've talked, we've mentioned OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, CPGs, consumer packaged goods companies, contract packagers, contract manufacturers. What was the diversity of the different industries that was represented?
Right.
Did that go fairly across the board?
And it did, and it seemed to be common through each day, and that was probably 60 to 70% food, but there were personal care and pharma people and beverage people there, and I think it really helped when they were breaking out into those sessions and talking about their own specific problems, that they all realize that we have the same problem.
Yeah, it allows for a little cross-pollination of different ideas that go into different segments.
Which we've long held in the magazine, too. You went to that editorial advisory board meeting we had, and all the packaging world readers who are doing food say, we want more information about pharma, because they're leading the way with track and trace, for instance. So, And that's one of the things that are greatest about 2025 and the folks that put it together is the networking is fabulous. And you see these people, the event ends and they're supposed to get out to the show floor, and they're standing in the hall still talking to one another.
That's terrific.
Yeah, super value there.
All right. Well, then I think that's about what we have for today. I'd like to really, again, thank you for taking your time, from the show floor and after the show to work with us and help us out on this podcast, Jim. Thank you for listening to Unpacked with PMMI. Be sure to join us next time for more packaging and processing industry insights.
Thanks, Sean.
Please rate, review, and subscribe. To do that, go to the iTunes podcast or Spotify app on your phone and search for Unpacked with PMMI.